I think it's great for policyholders. I think you'll get more fair pricing, more segmentation, more folks who are willing to write something that previously would have been in decline. I think it's good for agents because you'll get more clarity around what's covered and what's not. I think one of the simplest use cases for agentic workflows is compare these two quotes, right? Compare these two documents.
Right.
Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, they're great at that.
Sure.
And when you think about what an agent is, they spend tons of time doing that, tons and tons of time. So I think overall, the market will get more efficient.
Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes.
So, Graham, Michael, Topol, MGT, good to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time. I know it's been busy. Incredibly busy and eventful day for you guys today, right?
Yeah.
So what did you guys drop? Let us hear it.
Well, thanks for having us. It's good to see you again, Miguel.
Likewise.
And today we announced our Series B funding, a $21.6 million round that was oversubscribed. We welcome some great new investors as well as participation from a lot of our current investors. So really exciting day for us.
That's awesome. Anything to add, Michael?
No, I think we're super excited about what we're going to do as we look to the future with these funds, deepening our AI capabilities, expanding our product, and growing across the U.S. In both the admitted and E&S market for small businesses.
Yeah. So you led into it. My question always is when I will talk to carriers such as yourself, and I've asked you this question in the past, the inherent advantage that you guys have as a technology-first carrier. Talk a little bit about that and how it's actually materializing into competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think oftentimes we talk about being what we call the first AI native Neo-Insurer, and really you named what a Neo-Insurer is, which is a technology-first native insurance company.
Right.
And I think when you think about where we can get leverage using technology, because we control the full stack from managing our distribution to underwriting to servicing and claims, there's so many places to drive efficiency using technology. And we're using, whether it's AI or RPA, robotic process automation, to drive massive efficiency. And it's allowed us to scale pretty quickly without scaling our headcount linearly. Yeah. And places we're seeing huge impact, whether it's customer service, we're now triaging most of the low-level customer service requests with automation AI.
Right.
On underwriting, we collect 3,500 pieces of data for every risk that we underwrite.
Interesting.
We don't use all of it in underwriting. A lot of it gets cached for future reference.
Yeah.
But what we do is we're able to surface the things that matter really quickly in real time to underwriters to make better decisions. So this allows us not only to provide a better service for our policyholders, but we can do better risk segmentation, risk pricing, risk selection, and actually reach more policyholders because of that. So we're able to serve some of the underserved businesses in the U.S. So we really care about that mission too.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. One of the things that I've actually started seeing now in 10Ks is I've actually seen a metric for insurance companies that it's premium per employee.
Yeah.
And they're actually like tracking this piece, and that ratio better be moving in the right direction with technology, right? I mean, makes a ton of sense.
That's exactly right, and that's a metric that we've been thinking about a lot. We've been tracking it pretty much since we started the company, because to your point, I think you got to be able to grow, but you got to be able to grow efficiently, and tracking that ARR to FTE is really, really key.
Yeah.
Ours, I think, is more than 2x industry average already after only 2 years in operation. So we're pretty excited about where we are already, and I think there's a lot of upside on driving that metric as we continue to scale.
Yeah, got it. As an old school CIO who has worked at insurance companies, that I don't want to say we don't necessarily prioritize technology, but it's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind, right? But we are held to this kind of 4 to 5% of DWP of tech spend. Is that something you guys watch and track? Is it even come into the fore?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I think to comment on two things you said there. The first is, it's not that these things are unknown in the industry, but the cultural adoption at larger incumbent carriers is very low. And part of it's the spending cap. Part of it's, if you're trying to actually make a change, let's say you're going to underwriting or customer service, it's really hard to get a mid-level manager to think about replicating workflows with technology rather than with people, and that adoption, that cultural inertia is really hard to overcome.
Right.
We don't have that problem because we started fresh.
Yeah.
Right. We started with no tech debt, a clean sheet of paper, and because of that, we've been able to drive adoption. And what we found is we don't constrain our tech spend.
Okay.
But what that's allowed us to do is keep our what is typically the highest cost for insurance companies, which is headcount, really low. So as we talk about scaling with ARR to FTE, as Michael said, we're already 2x industry average. We think we can get to 10x industry average. And so the tech spend, it's about the ROI, and that's actually how we measure it. We don't think about a fixed percent of GWP.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense to me. How has the reception on the distribution side been to your technical capabilities? I'm picturing a set of agents that are like, oh wow, this is amazing, been waiting for this my whole life, versus like, oh, we can't even play with that. What has it been something like that?
Yeah. So I talk to our agent partners all day long, and it's really interesting, right? Because we want to be a carrier that's built for agents first and policyholders, right? We want to provide a better service. It's not just about our cost structure, but it's actually about delivering something that's meaningfully better for the agent. Yeah. And so there are those who never want to talk to a human, right? And so we have AI chatbots for them. They can go in and ask about our appetite. We built our own appetite agent checker using AI called Amy. Okay. So GOAT, the engineers really like the joke, and you can go on our website and find out by chatting with Amy what we cover and what we don't in what states. Yep. It's a great feature that a lot of the younger agents love. And at the same time, because we're not taking time to answer those questions, I mean, it's actually 20% of inbounds from agents are, do you cover this? It's a very simple question, but because we've taken that down to basically zero, when someone does call in and they actually want to talk to a human and they have more complex questions, or maybe they're a little older school and they actually want that handheld service, we have the capability to do that. They're not waiting on hold. There's no big call center. They're getting straight to someone who knows the answer very quickly.
Yeah, got it. So I'm hearing just like actual omni-channel, like
omni-channel is the goal. Yeah,
true omni-channel. That's amazing. And talk to me a little bit about kind of what are you participating in comparative raters, or if you're participating in those spaces, or is it just really you guys the value proposition so the agents come direct to you? They know what you guys cover. They know the classes you play in. How has that been?
Yeah, I'll take this one too, because just again, I deal with a lot of our distribution. But no, we mainly work through the independent retail agency force. We probably have about 5,000 agents now that we interact with. Wow. That's grown from a couple hundred about a year ago, which grew from 0 2 years ago. We've only been in business about 2 years. So we've got a good plan. We're working on trying to get them more informed, more activation, trying to figure out how to serve them meet them where they are and serve them for what they need. That being said, we're not opposed to working with some of the other channels. I think, as we talked about omni-channel and customer service, I actually think we want to move towards that on distribution as well. We have API capabilities, so being able to plug into other people's platforms to serve their customers if they don't have the product that we do is something that's on our roadmap, and we're very excited about.
All right, well, let's talk more about the roadmap. So whether it's product focus, tech focus, appetite focus, what's to come? You've got all this funding now.
Yeah, so I think it's a really great question, but before I sort of answer our roadmap, I think it's a really pressing question, because if you ask an insurance CEO from one of the major carriers, what's your technology roadmap? Right. You're asking an executive who understands insurance really well to be a technology CEO. And to your point on one of your questions earlier, insurance CEOs are not meant to be tech CEOs. Right. Now, every business in the world now has technology, and you need people around you, but I think that's been a really hard thing for CEOs in the insurance industry to grasp is, why should they have to be tech CEOs? They should be running an insurance company, which is what their expertise is. I think one of the nice things as we think about sort of our skill set, we're able to combine that insurance expertise with the technology expertise, having worked in Silicon Valley, and then having great people around us. Right. And I think to some extent, that's allowed us to be able to adopt technology. And when you ask about a technology roadmap, we can actually think about what's our roadmap for the business, what's our roadmap for technology, and how do those actually work together in a way that is cohesive, where you don't have a team saying, okay, I'm spending this amount of GWP on how do I build technology, and the business people saying, well, this is what I want to build this is what the business is going to go do, and the twain shall never meet.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And by the way, sings to my heart, because one of the things that I've always tried to push for is this notion of a technology-driven business strategy.
Yes.
And no, shut up, we won't do that. Yeah, it's just like that type of thing. And so I love hearing what you're talking about. And so now, I'll just say, for the industry, and you're here at ITC, what is really, what are you gravitating to? What are you seeing and you're saying, we need to think more about this? What do you see on the street?
Yeah, so I think for us, we're still new. We're still the new kids on the block,
Yeah.
right? There aren't a lot of new startup carriers. It's a pretty unique thing. And
Sure.
So getting our name out there for us is really big. I think that's part of what we're trying to do now. I think continuing to expand our distribution is important. Like I said, we work a lot with independent retail agents, but continue to expand that into more omni-channel and also sort of double down on that channel as well is important.
Yep.
I think the industry as a whole, we're excited about the new technology capabilities. We are lucky to be building at a time where we knew what LLMs were capable of.
Right.
When we started, it's only been 2 years, so we knew what LLMs could be capable of. And so we've built our platform in a way to take advantage of these things.
Yep.
So it's truly native. I think for the industry, people are going to be trying to figure out how to bolt on some of the things that we're doing.
Right.
How do we add agentic workflows to customer service?
Right.
I think that's really simple for us because our data is really clean. So a customer can come in. We already know based on the email that they're chatting with, or we ask them for their name, we can pull up their policy details. I think the industry as a whole is going to adopt that pretty quickly. I think they have to. I think that's kind of table stakes. But then, as we think about some of the things we talked about with the number of data points that we can gather, whether it's first-party data that's source of truth or inferred data that we're using more interesting machine learning models to derive, I think the industry is going to move there too, and I think it's a really good thing I think it's great for policyholders. I think you'll get more fair pricing, more segmentation, more folks who are willing to write something that previously would have been a decline.
Yep.
I think it's good for agents because you'll get more clarity around what's covered and what's not. I think one of the simplest use cases for agentic workflows is compare these two quotes, right? Compare these two documents.
Right.
Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, they're great at that.
Sure.
And when you think about what an agent is, they spend tons of time doing that,
That's
tons
exactly
and tons of time. So I think overall, the market will get more efficient as it should. And I think what that means is the end policyholder should get more attention from their agent, say, do we have the right coverage? Am I protected for the things I really need to be worried about? And then the industry can be more efficient and do our job better, which is really about risk transfer and risk aggregation. One of the things we talk about, forgive me for going on a little bit of a tangent here, is just how important insurance is to American economic exceptionalism.
Oh my gosh.
We talk about this all the time, but what makes America special is that we actually reward risk takers.
Yeah.
You can't do that without a really well-developed insurance system.
Yep.
And so whether you're starting a laundromat, you're a Korean immigrant in LA, and that's the business you want to start, or you've inherited your grandfather's grocery store and you want to expand, you need the right coverage to feel confident to do that.
Yep.
And then when things go wrong, insurance companies like ourselves are there to step in and protect livelihoods, protect businesses, protect communities. And I think the more we can do to make that efficient and clear, the better off what we do for the economy it really is.
I laugh, because I had this very same conversation with Andrew Mays yesterday, Commissioner of Connecticut, and talking about the work that we have to do as an industry to advocate more to help kind of educate people on what coverages do and how they serve the economy. And we literally said nothing would happen in this world for it not insurance.
It's the backbone of our economy.
Right? Exactly. And so that's really fascinating. And I really think about what you were talking about using LLMs and Claude and even some of this omni-channel support. We've actually been talking about it in this room here too, just amongst ourselves, how to educate the consumer on what they're covered for and what they're not, so that they can better understand how to utilize insurance as that kind of that risk transfer mechanism to then go off and enterprise,
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for the time. I know you guys are super busy here. You've got things to get at, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's fun. Yes.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.